Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at one of the most advanced, high-tech, drop-in, bolt-on Telecaster necks. Let's check it out. Yes, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing very well today. We've got something pretty cool to share with you guys. Let's jump over to the desk and see what we got. All right, you guys, let's open it up and see what's in the box. And here it is. Holland guitars. Let me flip that around. This is a carbon fiber neck specifically designed for Telecasters. So this is just the very first look. Locking tuners come pre-installed. Man, that looks sharp. Looks like Graphtec string tree, Graphtec nut. Wow. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Okay, so I'm gonna switch cameras. Let's take a closer look at this thing. Well, here it is, you guys, the carbon fiber replacement Telecaster neck. Now, fingers crossed, this will drop straight in on a Tele. We're gonna install it and do some playing today and give you guys my first impressions of this neck. Now, this is from a company called Holland Guitars. These guys are based in New Zealand, and this was provided to the channel by these guys so I can check it out. So huge thanks to those guys. And man, this thing is beautiful. Anywhere there's a transition zone, you know, where the angles change, it just looks really gorgeous. Like, these guys know what they're doing with carbon fiber. So that's my first impressions, just looking at, you know, all those transition zones where, yeah, the angles might change slightly, that kind of thing. Heel joint, just clean and beautiful. So yeah, first impressions is excellent construction for sure. So we'll see how, you know, the shape fits into a Tele pocket. That's obviously the most important thing. But just looking at, you know, the basics of the neck, it looks really good. As I mentioned off the top, there's a few really unique elements. So let's jump in and take a closer look. Now, one of those unique elements is the fret wire. I'm not sure if you guys can see or not, but it definitely has a goldish hue to it. And the guys from Holland Guitar describe it as Bell Bronze fret wire. And I actually have one other guitar that has similar fret wire. I don't know if it's the same brand or not, but it does have that same goldish hue. And I think this is quite striking up against that jet black fingerboard. So yeah, the guys from Holland say it's really hard. It wears very, very slowly, so it's going to be very durable. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that because it is something unique to this neck. And yeah, like I said, it's quite striking up against that rich light fingerboard. So yeah, that's one of those elements that, you know, the neck's a little bit different than, you know, other things you'd find on the market. Well, here we go. Old meets new on the 52. We're going to see how the 52 Tele body accepts the carbon fiber neck. Let's jump over to the desk and hopefully, yeah, this will all go on smoothly. Now, included with the neck are these bolts. Now, we cannot use conventional screws to attach the neck. We have to use bolts because screws just, well, it's not going to go into a carbon fiber neck. So, pre-drilled, and hopefully it all goes on okay. So first thing we need to do before we worry about all the bolts and attaching the neck is just to make sure it's going to work in the neck pocket. And then next will be, hopefully these holes will line up with the Telecaster neck holes. So there we go. So I think that's a fit in the 52. It looks very different because, of course, this guitar had a maple neck on it. So this is going to give it a completely different look. So yeah, let's flip it over, see if we can start some of those bolts, and then, yeah, go from there. So I'm going to pull the neck out. I'm just going to flip it over this way. And I'm going to just see if we can start some of them. So we'll put the plate. This is the original plate from the 52. And let's just drop in a few of the bolts. Now, I'm just going to sort of put a little pressure with my fingers and just see if I can start them a bit. And hopefully all of this lines up. It really feels like it is going in instantly, which is a very good sign. And then before I tighten them, yeah, so this seems to be lining up perfectly. Let's see, yeah, I can feel the tension on this one. Let's go to the back too and get those started. I'm gonna have to maybe lift the neck up a little bit like that. Yep, so, I mean, yeah, lines up perfectly. So if you're worried about, is it gonna fit my fender? The answer is yes. I didn't have to wiggle or do anything, and it all seems to be perfect. So I'm gonna continue tightening it and just sort of rotate around and just go nice and slow. So that is encouraging. You never really know when you're talking about, aftermarket parts onto official Fender stuff, is it gonna mate up perfectly? And this, well, the answer is yes. So very, very cool. So yeah, I'll be back and we'll just tighten up the whole neck. So the neck is on the Telecaster and I've put the strings back on, and the 52 is brand new. It's interesting to see, the checking in the nitro finish versus suddenly seeing carbon fiber on this guitar. Very interesting. The profile on the Holland neck here is actually nice and chunky. I was not quite sure what to expect. Sometimes if you think, oh, I'm putting a modern neck on a Telecaster, it's gonna have like an Ibanez feel to it or something like that, really thin. But no, this one is actually pretty chunky, and going from the existing 52 neck that was on here to this on the back doesn't actually feel that different, which is pretty interesting. I should ask them what they modeled this carbon fiber neck off of, because it feels to me like they modeled it after a 52 neck, but I'll have to verify that. And of course, even though it kind of feels nice and chunky on the back, on the front face, it is a 12-inch radius. So it's gonna feel a little bit different than the vintage radius that these guitars come with. So yeah, there it is. Fits nice on the heel joint. So that was great to see. So, if you got a Fender, it'll definitely drop right on. Let's plug it in. I'll just play a few tones for you guys. I don't think it's going to drastically change the tone of this guitar, but you never know. Let's plug it in and take a listen. All right, you guys, here we go. First tones on the brand new Holland neck. Let's start in the bridge pickup with just a few chords here. Well, that still sounds like a Tele. Lots of snap, so much sparkle too. Love that. And great sustain as well. Let's try the neck pickup a bit. These frets definitely feel very different than just the nickel frets or whatever was on the Fender neck. So much more smooth and polished. So when you're doing those bends, just silky. Really, really nice. Let's go to the middle position here. Yeah, really nice. Still a little bit of that quackiness from the middle position. So yeah, all the positions sound really, really good. Like I said, tons in the bridge. It just sounds great, like a Tele. So yeah, really happy with the overall sound of the neck and the guitar. It still, seems to be completely intact. I would say maybe sustain improved. Some of those chords just ring out really, really nice. I'll have to play on the neck a bunch more. All right, so here are my final thoughts on the Holland guitars carbon fiber drop-in Telecaster neck. Now, like everything in life, there's some pros and cons of everything, and we're gonna cover them right here. So let's start off with the pros. Now, number one, it truly is a drop-in neck. So if you have a Fender body, could not have been easier to install. So they got everything right from that standpoint. Super easy to install. Anybody can do it, even if you've never done anything like that before. Just pull out the 4 screws, put your neck in, put the 4 bolts in place, and that's it. Tighten it up and you're off to the races. So that was awesome. Now, second pro is obviously composite neck. Heat, humidity, temperature swings, all that kind of stuff will not phase this neck. And once you have your desired action set up, it's going to stay like that forever. Of course, that's a huge pro to this style of neck. Third pro is it plays wonderfully. It just really does. The frets are so smooth. The fretwork is impeccable. The overall construction of this neck is just wonderful from every metric I can think of. It's lightweight. There's no headstock dive. Love the tuning machines. No pinging in the nut right away. Graphtec nut there. So they've thought of everything for a high performance neck, and they've executed on that. This is truly a wonderful neck. So playability, construction, the tones I was getting out of the Telecaster, awesome. Like I said, the frets are good. All the construction, and in terms of how it fits a fender body, everything like that is, huge pro. Now, as for the cons, well, I can think of a couple potential cons. Number one, I'd like to see this neck just offered in standard stainless steel frets. They're not as, fancy as the Brauns. They don't look as cool, but they are an industry standard. And maybe there's even some savings to be had for the customer if you just go with just straight stainless and then, put these fancy Brauns as an option. I know not everybody likes stainless steel frets. Famously, Paul Reed Smith, not a big fan. So he uses frets like this, just hardened frets instead of stainless steel on his very expensive, core model $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 guitar. So it's not unusual to use frets like this, but will they last as long as just generic stainless steel? Well, I'm gonna have to put in a lot of hours before I can say that. So yeah, I would just like to see the stainless as an option, or as standard, and these ones as an option. Second con is, of course, the price. When you're talking about carbon fiber, it still is very, very expensive. Now, I've tried all sorts of necks on this channel over the years, fancy wooden necks, glass necks, other carbon fiber necks, necks with metal on them, all sorts of different things we've looked at on this channel. And this is by far and away the most expensive one I've ever used. So I think that's a definite con. This is a very, very expensive neck. These guys are based in New Zealand. Yeah, beautiful stuff. So yeah, when you go to their website, I'll link to it down below. Just bear in mind that the prices there are in New Zealand dollars. So if you're from Europe or the US, it's going to be substantially cheaper than what's listed there. So bear that in mind. And of course, yes, I'll link to it down below. It's a beautiful neck, fun to play on, exquisitely well built, but yes, very, very expensive. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Other than that, of course, I'll link to this neck and all the gear I use down in the video description below. You can check it out there. Other than that, have yourself a great day. Take care.